Are you looking to move to St. Johns County and you have school-age children, so schools are very important to you? Well, then this is the video for you. We're going to dive deep today, not only into public schools, but Florida Virtual School, co-op opportunities, homeschooling in the area, as well as the Florida School for the Deaf and the Blind. So stay tuned. We have a jam-packed episode today, and I can't wait to explore more with you. I'm Caitlin Blosser. I'm a local mom and realtor living in St. John's. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. And as always, I welcome comments, whether you have something to add about the education system here or you have a question, don't hesitate to leave a comment. And as always, check the link in my bio where you get the opportunity to schedule a one-on-one appointment with me. So if you're looking to move, either whether you live here now or you're moving to the area, I would love the opportunity to assist your family and be your realtor. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Starting out with St. Johns County Public Schools. That is one of the biggest draws to St. John's. You know, we're a suburb of Jacksonville, but comparatively between Duval County and St. John's is where the schools, the great schools, are at. We are ranked number 2 out of 67 districts in the state of Florida. We have held that number 1 spot for years, and I'm sure we'll fight to get it back. But we are the 2nd ranked district in the state, and we've held a ranking overall since 2010. So over 14 years of being an A ranked district. Within our district, we have 51 schools, one being Florida Virtual School, which we'll get into. But of those 50 schools, 32 were ranked in A last year. So again, we have some great quality schools. Now, within the schools, we have our elementary schools, you have your middle schools, we have 9 high schools, and then we have K through 8 academies. K through 8 academies have become very popular over the last couple years, and people love them. Parents love them because if you have multiple kids, it keeps your kids on the same schedule for the same drop-off, pickup times, orientations, things like that. Keeps you on the same schedule for longer. Parents and students and teachers love it because we all know the horror stories of middle school. It kind of depletes that a little bit because you're with the same kids, which maybe the kids don't like it, but you're with the same kids year over year, all the way through that 8th grade. Now, one big concern kids always have or parents is, do I want my kindergarten walking the hall with 8th graders? But it is on the same campus, but you're always in separate buildings. The little kids don't interact with the older kids often. You still have your 5th grade graduations, your 8th grade graduations, your 5th grade field trips, all the celebrations that typically happen at the end of elementary school. It's still happening at those K through 8s. And the district has really moved into more of building K through 8s, not just your elementary and middle school, because it's one plot of land. It serves the same household or kind of area. And with that being said, while we have a ton of A-ranked schools, if you go to greatschools.org, we have a ton of schools that are 8s, 9s, and 10s. One of the issues we've seen the last couple years after COVID with the big housing boom was an influx of people to St. John's. So a lot of the schools are overcrowded, and St. John's County is doing their best to help with that by opening new K through 8s. Nocatee a couple years ago only had 1 K through 8. Now they have 3 with a 4th one on the way, I think in 2 years. This upcoming school year, Shearwater will have a K through 8 as well as another one in Beacon Lake. And each K through 8 houses about 1,500 students. Next year on the docket is Rivertown's K through 8. And then I think the following year is Silverleaf's K through 8, so 2026 school year. So keep that in mind. While class sizes are pushing it right now, as these other K through 8s open up, it'll help disperse the students, which you have to keep in mind. As schools open, it allows for rezoning. So there's some statistics out there right now that with the 2 K through 8s, Beacon Lake and Shearwater, that are opening this upcoming year, which I think is called Trout River, and I forget the other name. I forget what Beacon Lake's K through 8 is going to be. What they're saying is it's actually going to rezone 8 schools. So 8 schools will be affected by the opening of the 2 schools. We built in 2019, and our neighborhood has kind of moved between 3 schools so far, and the parents aren't too happy about it. But I will say the silver lining is the parents have, each school we've moved to, the parents have loved the school. So while they don't love the change, they've been happy where the county has put us. And again, the fear is with more K-8s opening, will we get moved again? Now, obviously, they don't have any schools past that 2026, 2027 school years on the plan. So once all those open up, we should be pretty steady. But that's just something to keep in mind if you are looking to move to the area where there is a lot of new development. But back to the schools. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, we have 9 high schools. Within those 9 high schools, there are 32 academy programs. And they're called academies, but I think I've told you this before, but I used to be a teacher. So it reminds me of Duval County's magnet programs is kind of what I would correlate it to. So there's 32 academies within the 9 high schools. Each academy, if you go to the high school, you can apply to be in the academy, or if you're not zoned for that high school, you can get a special assignment to attend that academy. For example, Bartram Trail has a design academy. They have about 3 or 4, but I know design is one. Creekside High School has a couple academies, one being like future teachers of St. Johns County. Beachside High School has some really cool academies. They have a supply chain or global logistics and supply chain management academy. They have an academy of IT. They have an academy of veterinarian and biomedical studies. So if you have a high schooler that is already passionate, knowing what they want to do later on in life, or maybe want to test some things out, we have some great up-to-date academies that are so applicable to their college application. So not only are they going to get a great education with the public school, but they can get a little further depth with these academies. So great schools here. And again, that's what draws a lot of people here, but it's not perfect. And with that, there is other opportunity. Now, in St. Johns County, there's 3 charter schools where Duval County has a ton of charter schools. And the charter schools here are more for students with special needs, or there is one Montessori charter school. And then there's not a lot of private schools. So we'll get into kind of the other opportunities for education. And we're going to start with Florida Virtual School. So Florida Virtual School is considered a St. Johns County public school. It is K through 12. And there's 2 types of virtual school. You have your full-time virtual school or your flex. But let's focus on full-time. Full-time virtual school is where your child will sit down in front of a computer throughout the school day. They have a teacher on the screen teaching them. They have lessons they have to complete, turn it in. They have like one direct contact on video teaching them. So I've had clients who, when their kids got to middle school, they kind of pulled them out and did that Florida virtual school route. So it is another possibility if going to the normal school isn't or maybe your child doesn't like it, or maybe it just works better for your schedule. But no, it is like a 9 to 3, still a time commitment, like attending regular school. Just the difference is they could be in the comfort of your own home on the computer. Aside from the full-time virtual school, you do also have Flex. And Flex is a good partner if you decide to homeschool. And what Flex is you can sign up for a single class. Like say if you're homeschooling and you get to the point where that math just is not mathing for you, or science isn't your forte, your child can sign up for like a flex class with Florida Virtual School. So where they're homeschooled the rest of the time, but maybe they take a science class this year, or maybe a math class this year. And again, for that class, they will be on camera with another teacher teaching them, having assignments following the public school curriculum. And I've had, I've had 2 clients whose children have gone to Florida Virtual School and they seem to love it. I don't know much more than that, but they like it. They like the interactions. They've had a great experience with it so far. So that's going to direct us straight into our next topic of homeschooling. So there is a great homeschooling community local. So even though our public schools are so highly rated, there are still a lot of parents who just ever since COVID have decided to go straight to that homeschool route because it makes more sense to them. And some do the traditional homeschool where, you as the parent buy the curriculum and you teach Monday through Friday, go through your curriculum yourself, but then co-ops have really become popular here. And so I'm going to kind of mix co-ops and homeschool together. So co-ops, the co-ops in our area a lot of times are 3 days a week. The Grove and Ponte Vedra Co-op are two very popular ones. I think some of them are waitlisted, but those meet Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And I want to say the hours are 9 to 2 or close to that. And then you have Nocatee Co-op, which meets Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you drop your child off 3 days a week where they are taught by a teacher. It does cost money. And then the other 2 days you're home, kind of embedding that curriculum that the school's already teaching and adding your homeschool to it. In the homeschool community, there is a very strong classical conversations community here. Both of them have, if you get on Facebook, you can get some really great groups in the area of people homeschooling and doing the co-op route. So you have a ton of support. There's a lot of local businesses that offer activities for homeschool kids, such as dance classes during the day. One of the gymnastics studios, if your child is a competitive gymnast, they offer the training during the day, so then your child can homeschool later, so that your nights aren't from like 5 to 8 p.m. at the gym. So there's a ton of opportunities for extracurriculars. And again, although our public schools are so strong, there are a ton of families here. So you will have that network. It's not like if you choose to not send your kid to school, you're on an island. There are so many opportunities for them. And one other thing I'm going to note, which do your own research on it, but it is Step Up for Students. And that is a scholarship opportunity if you want to homeschool or participate in a co-op. It's just under $8,000, and it's not given to you in a check, but it's kind of on an account where you can use the money to pay for curriculum, pay for the co-op tuition, things like that. It's a reimbursement through the state though, not through the county, but it is something if you are interested in not doing the traditional schooling route, that might be an avenue you might want to take. Again, it's Step Up for Students is that scholarship opportunity. So moving on from co-ops and homeschool, let's talk about FSDB, and that is the Florida School for the Deaf and Blind. And it was opened here in 1885, has a long-standing history. Ray Charles actually attended it. It is one of the top deaf and blind schools in the nation. And because of that, there is such a strong community in the St. Augustine, St. Johns County area, helping support families of deaf and blind children or deaf and blind adults. The children will have that community as well. It is located on 80 acres in historic St. Augustine. The school itself is absolutely beautiful, but within the school, it's going to have bowling lanes, indoor swimming pools, greenhouses. There are so many extracurriculars, and it does go from pre-K to 12 plus continued education. There are career programs like culinary arts, digital marketing, media design. So really, again, such a great school if you do have a child that is either deaf or blind, and you don't have to live in St. Johns County. They do accept students from neighboring counties, and they will bus you there. I helped a family from Louisiana whose daughter is deaf move to the area. They first rented in Duval County, and a bus came to a local, I want to say it was like a Target parking lot. So they would drive her there. She'd bus down to St. Augustine, go to school, and then bus her home. And then when they were ready to buy, they bought in St. Augustine about 10 minutes from the school. And again, it's such a strong community. She actually invited me to her book club. And now I am in a book club with a couple parents whose children are all deaf. And there's just so much opportunity, just like there's with homeschool and co-op, in terms of sports and in terms of activities that the students can get involved in there. So that wraps it up for today's episode. If you ever have any other questions about the education, don't hesitate to reach out. But like I said, take advantage of Facebook, because like I said, there are a ton of local homeschool co-op groups on there that can really help you with that. And then my only caveat as a realtor, and this is what I always say, our public schools here are great, but we are in the state of Florida. Each state education is kind of its own entity. It's not like it's one curriculum for the whole United States. So depending on where you're moving from, you might get a better education here, or it might not be what you're used to. And that is okay, because there's so many other avenues of education in our area between the co-ops, the homeschool, the Florida virtual school. So while St. Johns County isn't perfect, We have been rated an A for 14 years, and people wholeheartedly love and move here for the education system. And I didn't talk about it earlier, but I know a lot of my friends have like kindergartners, first grade, second grade students. And from what I hear in elementary school, it's like a fight to be team or a class mom. Like there's a list. So you have to like be the first one because there's so many parents competing for it. And then two, like field trip. There's so many parents who want to be involved that it's a lottery system for you to be chosen to go on a field trip with your student. And I think the amount of parent involvement here, whether it's FSDB, public schools, co-ops, or homeschools, there's so much parent involvement here. And I think that's what helps the success of our students in the county. So all that being said, I'm going to wrap up for today. Like I mentioned before, I'm Caitlin Blosser. I'm a local mom and realtor. Please follow along to Living in St. John's. Go ahead and subscribe because I try to release a new video every Friday. Just a reminder, there's that link in the bio. So if you are looking to move to the area, I would love the opportunity to meet, to get a chance to be your realtor. So don't hesitate to ever book an appointment with me. But that is it for today. I hope you learned something new. And if you ever have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments. Have a good day.